Hey guys, so I want to kind of create a tutorial comparing FMOD's audio system and Unity's audio system, because I hear a lot of you guys kind of saying, oh, it's hard to convince developers to go with using FMOD over Unity, and hopefully this will give developers some insight and you can kind of guide them to this video to let them know. But first, I'll show you guys kind of the end result of what I created in Unity, and then I'll go into how I created it. Okay, so the first thing I kind of wanted to show you guys was the wood creaking sound from this in Unity. And so I'll switch over to FMOD here. And yeah, so you can see I have a multi-instrument with a loop region on the top here. So I dragged in a bunch of audio files here. So it constantly loops through when it's playing in the scene, and it picks one of these at random each time, which is super useful. So you can just drag and drop them basically straight into FMOD. And this isn't as difficult to do in Unity, but there is a difference. So the first thing you would want to do is create a private audio source, and I call it creaking source one. You create an audio clip array just so you can store your audio clips, and I'll show you how this works in Editor in a second. So assign it to an audio source. It's important to set the spatial blend to 1 in this case, because this means that it's going to be a spatialized sound instead of a 2D sound. And so this is how I have it playing. So it's difficult to fire one-shot sounds in Unity, because as soon as you set it to loop, it'll loop that same clip that was assigned to it. So instead, I just have it randomly select a sound from this array here, and it returns it basically starts over after 10 seconds. And I'll show you how that looks in Editor. So go ahead. So here's the creaking array sounds. These are the ones that are playing in the scene. Basically, yeah, it selects from these 5, and every 10 seconds it'll cycle through these 5 sounds. And the next thing I kind of wanted to show you guys was the footsteps. So I'll go back into FMOD, and it's a very, very similar process. I dragged in 4 different audio clips here and into this multi-instrument. It's not set to loop this time. It's actually triggered every time the head bobs down in the scene based on the camera. And this actually does need to interact with the code, and I'll show you guys how that's done. So under head bob here, you have this FMOD event reference for footsteps, and this is what allows the FMOD event to actually trigger based on your code in the scene. And just for reference, I didn't use this script in the actual scene, but this is a clean version of basically the same thing, where you're kind of creating an FMOD emitter. And I'll show you what that looks like in Editor. Yes, so you have your standard FMOD emitter right here. Allows you to choose your events. And here's the custom script. The really cool thing about this is that you can use it to actually create your own actions and interact with the event system of FMOD and trigger everything yourself through the code if you're more comfortable with that as a programmer. And of course, if you just want to do all of this through the code, it's a very similar process to just using the footsteps. One quick thing I want to actually note is the flexibility in editing your audio files within FMOD versus Unity. So for instance, I have this multi-instrument container within FMOD. As you can see, I do have a master volume for the container, but I also have individual volumes that I can actually mess around with. So let's say some of these were louder than others. I think in terms of the footsteps, I actually did adjust these. Yes, so here it's very easy to actually kind of normalize the volumes individually here instead of actually just messing with the master volume. Now you can do this within Unity, but it's a lot more difficult. So let's take something like the creaking here. It's like we have this audio source, creaking source 1. You'd have to go do something like creaking. So this is assuming that the scale is from 0 to 1. So this is how you would actually adjust the volume within the code. Now you can see this will get very tedious if you have multiple audio clips, because not all of them may be at a consistent volume level. Now it is up to the sound designer or the engineer to actually normalize these, but if you're short on time and you do want to do it within editor, it might be easier to work in FMOD than to do something like this for each individual clip. The next thing I have here is the music. Now the music is the most interesting part of FMOD in my opinion, because it's really easy to actually just bring in a stem, which is just an unedited or edited audio file, like with the intro and the loop um, combined. Um, but in order to do that through the code, you have to actually do a little bit of a workaround. So I'll go into Reaper real quick and I'll show you what I mean. So in Reaper here, I have an intro and I have a loop. This is important because if you want to trigger it through Unity, then you have to have these as separate audio clips in order for it to loop properly. Otherwise, it'll just loop straight back from the intro, and that's not what you want in most cases. Another thing to make note of is this part right here. This is the tail that came out when I exported it, and you'd actually want to delete that. So that way, it just loops this section right here, straight right back to this section. And that same thing in Unity, in FMOD, is much easier to work with. So you can actually set your time signature and your tempo within FMOD, and you can create a loop region based off of that. So I didn't cut off this tail here just to demonstrate this. So it's really easy for me to actually go here, and then when it loops back to the beginning, or when it loops back to the beginning of the loop region, not the intro. But the entire audio file is still unedited, which makes it much easier. You don't have to export as many assets into Unity to get this to work. And I'll show you the code as well. So in order to get this to work within just Unity's audio system here, it's actually also kind of interesting. Again, create your audio source, your two audio clips here. In this case, I have music clip 1 for the intro, music clip 2 for the body. Assign the audio source. And the first thing I'm doing as soon as I start the game is playing this one shot, which is the music clip 1. This is the intro that I edited, that I showed you guys in Reaper. And after this plays, it triggers this coroutine within um, this section right here. And I have this section set to start after 8 seconds, which is the exact amount of time it takes for this clip to finish playing. So after 8 seconds, the body of the music actually starts to play. And at this point, I set the music loop to true, which basically means that it will loop every time it's played, or it'll loop at the once it reaches the end of the audio clip. And yeah, so that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll show you guys one more time the complete product, and yeah, thanks for watching.